to the stream. I see we already have 5 people in, and that's pretty exciting. I'm really glad that you're here. We're going to take a couple minutes to get set up and let other people join. So in the meantime, just get comfortable in the chat, talk amongst yourselves. How's everybody doing? And you know what? I should go through the chat and see if there are any messages that I've missed, because sometimes you guys are already chatting before I even get started. All right. Doesn't look like I've missed anything yet. I love, oh yeah, today we're going to be using, I'll show you in a second once I pick all of these up. Today we're going to be using the Angels Tarot, one of my favorite decks. It's really nice. These cards are a little bit stiff. I guess I should use them a little bit more and shuffle them more because they're a little bit stiff. But I figured they would be perfect for today because we're going to be getting some channeled messages from 3 different guardian angels. I would say archangels, but I don't remember if Raphael and Sandalphon are archangels or if it really matters, if their title really matters. But they are definitely guardians. They look after us. They especially resonate with certain people. Wow, we've already got so many. We have, who do we have? We have Craig. Hello, Craig. Tessa, Teresa, Steph, Mythos, Roland, Paisley, Sharon, Scott, LD Scott. You're new. Nice to see you. Marie. Oh, we have Little Sparrow. Hi, Little Sparrow. I have not seen you in a long time. So I'm really glad you're here. I was kind of thinking about you and hoping you were doing well and stuff like that. Of course, I'm excited that all the rest of you are here too. Just, you know, you're all very special. It's finally the weekend. And I figured, really, it's been a long time since I've done any kind of like angel channeling. The last time, who was the last one that we channeled? Somebody in the chat remembers, because I know we talked to Metatron about, oh my God, it was almost a year ago. We talked to Metatron. We did a stream with him. He was really cool. And then we did another one with Archangel Michael, I think. I think it was him. And I can't remember if we did another one. I'm sure we have at some point. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to do it again. Yeah, so today it's going to be Metatron, Raphael, and Sandalphon. I don't remember if I said Michael or Metatron earlier, like just a minute ago, but definitely Metatron. He comes in very strong. And the reason why these 3 have been chosen is because when I was getting the thumbnail image and getting the stream set up a couple days ago, I thought, well, you know, maybe we'll pick some in advance to work with, talk to, or, you know, whoever comes in. And it was like instantly there was Metatron, and I know what he feels like because I've worked with him before. So like he came in right away. That was pretty unmistakable. And then Raphael was just very quietly like present, like, yep, I'll do it. And then I just kept getting the name Sandalphon. So we're gonna talk to him as well. I'm not sure if I've ever talked to the Angel Sandalphon before. I don't know too much about him. So this will be exciting. I don't have any like pre-planned questions or anything. I do have cards here. I thought maybe we'd see what each of them wants to talk about today, and we'll kind of just let them take the stage. You'll notice in some of my recent like channeling videos, I do still use tarot cards, but sometimes I don't. I kind of just go super, like, it's like eyes closed, deep, but not too deep, like deep enough that I can get the messages, but still close enough to earth that I'm like not completely forgetting that I'm on stream or whatever. So we might do a little bit of both. I'm getting better at doing these kind of channelings and messages without cards, but it's good to have them just in case. Oh yeah, we did Raphael as well. Thanks, Little Sparrow. I remember that. He was very, yeah, that was a nice like healing kind of session. He's a really good one. I'm gonna take a second. Half of my deck is upside down, and I do work with reversals, but not when half the deck is the wrong way. Now, if you guys do have some particular questions you'd like to ask, feel free to leave them in the chat, and we can maybe get to them. We'll just see. We're going to give everyone a couple more minutes to come in. We have 42 people already, though. Hello and welcome. That's very exciting stuff. All right. Don't mind me, I'm just getting myself sorted out here. So I set up quite a bit before stream, and then there's always like 5 or 10 awkward minutes on stream where I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't as set up as I thought. But that's fine, that gives you guys a chance to get settled in and comfortable. And actually, while I'm doing this, flipping my cards the right way around, I am gonna just like open up a little bit. And I mean, it's not like I have to give Metatron, Raphael, and Sandalphon a chance to come in because they're already in. But I have to give myself a chance to, you know, open up and become a little bit more receptive. I feel like I've been a little scatterbrained lately, so I could take a minute to just... Okay. Ooh, Craig has something interesting. Craig is saying, okay, I bought a 1930 Model A in beautiful shape. Oh, and then Clara guided me to her. I forgot Clara Bow is like one of your... She comes and talks to you a lot. That's kind of cool. And of course, he named the car Clara. That is awesome, actually. And so what I want to know is it like an actual like full-size car, or is it like one of those die-cast models? Because I mean, either one would be pretty cool, but I don't think I've ever actually seen anyone like drive one of those really, really old like Tin Lizzie vehicles. Okay, you just said yes. What? A real car or a die-cast car? A real one? A real one! Oh my God, that's exciting. I've seen a couple of them at like car shows when I was a little kid, but I've never seen one actually like in action. That's fascinating stuff. That's awesome. That's very exciting, Craig. Good for you. I hope you really enjoy it and you can do so safely and with a lot of fun. All right. Also, I think Claire is a really good name for an old car like that. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. So that's really exciting. It seems like you guys in the chat are up to some really cool stuff lately. And for some of us, all we're doing is existing, and that's okay too, all right? Okay. So I think we're kind of ready to start. We're almost 10 minutes in. We're about 9 minutes in. I think it's okay for us to get started. I am going to call on Metatron to come in first. The order is not important, okay? I just gotta say that. It's not like, you know, number one and then second best, third best. No, that's not what we're doing. It's just, it would be nice to do all of them all at once, but that would probably be really hard to understand. It would be hard for me to channel. Imagine trying to listen to a room full of people talking and trying to understand everything all at once, right? So we're just gonna do one at a time. So Metatron, welcome. Thank you for being with us all the time. You know, coming in with really without having to be called, which is very, very nice. But sometimes to us and our human limitations, we're actually that one of these cards fell out, so we're gonna keep it. Oh, hello, Steph. Welcome to the chat. I don't think we're doing anything like individual personal today. I understand that that is a situation you really, really need some guidance on. If you'd like, you can get a hold of me, santarosetarot@gmail.com, and we can always set up a session or an email reading or something together. Today, I think it's just going to be messages for the collective, if that is all right with you. Okay. No problem, Steph. Thank you for asking anyways, though. I really do appreciate it. So Metatron, what do you have to say for us today? Now, I did have one tarot card already fell out, and we're going to keep it. We're going to use it. I feel like that one was important. Let's see if there's anything else. He's telling me to put to put the cards aside because I don't need them. Okay, I will just trust you with that one, that you'll just tell me what we need to know. But the one that did fall out that we're going to keep is the Empress, and Metatron is saying that we are always growing. He's saying you are always growing, and that there is nothing that we can do that will actually 100% like halt our spiritual progress. There are things that will slow it down and things that will cause us to go round and round the same. Some people consider it going round and round the same mountain tons of times, going round and round trying to learn a lesson. Sometimes it takes us a while to get it. And he's like pointing out personal stuff for me so I understand what he's talking about. There's definitely a couple lessons where my ego self has been like kicking and screaming, refusing to learn them because it's uncomfortable. But I have to learn it in order to evolve. So he's saying, for example, it's not going to stop me from growing spiritually, but it is making my progress a little bit slower than it needs to be, if that makes sense. So he's saying everybody does this from time to time. I'm gonna get some water. Water is excellent for channeling. It's very, very conductive. It's just very good for you to begin with. Okay. Metatron, what else do you have for us? Okay, he wants us also to know that no one single person is on a better spiritual track than another. That we're each doing this at our own unique pace. I think, now this is just a human behavior, comparing oneself to others. Some people do it a lot worse than others, and I'm going to use me as an example. I'm kind of really, really bad for doing that. Just, due to life stuff in the past, whatever. Metatron saying we can actually move past the need to do that, to compare. Well, my path is not moving as quickly as, so-and-so's path. Or my path looks different than my wife's path or my husband's path. So what if I'm doing something wrong? No, you're not. You're not. There's no need for everyone to be on the exact same like journey of learning and growth. We need all kinds of experiences in our world. And there is that saying that it takes all kinds of people to make the world go round. It is true. We also need all kinds of experiences because if everyone was experiencing the same thing, really, the divine is not, like, I don't want to say that the divine's not like learning anything, but the reason that we have so many different people in the world and we're all connected and stuff, it's like it's the divine trying to experience itself in all of these different ways. It cannot do that if we're all just going through the same thing and all the same lessons at the same time at the same pace. It's kind of boring. The divine is able to have, over here, an experience of love and light. Somebody has an easy life. Over here, somebody has a really tough life with a lot of darkness and pain, and they got to learn and grow from it. Over here, somebody else is, having a completely different experience. So it's very necessary for the divine, for creation to experience itself in a more effective way. That word effective comes in really strong. So we're always growing. We're supposed to be on a unique path with no need to compare to other people. That is easier said than done, because like I said, that is kind of just a human behavior. Sometimes we like to know how we measure up and how well we're doing, and it's hard to accept that you're doing well if you don't have something to compare it to. He's saying we don't need that. We can just accept that we're doing well. Spirit's definition of doing well and being successful is a lot different than our definition of doing well and being successful. Some people's spiritual path is intense, and they awaken and they have all of these like abilities that come up. It's not like any new abilities come in. It's stuff you're already capable of. It just becomes easier. Some people have an easier time accessing their like spiritual gifts. So that could be psychic skills, that could be, empathy, that could be whatever. And it's super intense, and it's super like interesting to talk about and listen to all their experiences. And then some people's spiritual path is really, really gentle, and it's really calm. And where a more intense path might be like, you go from 0 to channeling guardian angels within like a period of 3 months. That's intense. Some people, actually a lot of people, it's very gentle. It takes a couple of years or a couple of decades to like adjust to, actually, first of all, it takes a while to adjust to the human experience. That's something he's saying. And Metatron saying that it's kind of, he's saying it's part of the game. Like we can think of our earth life as a game if we really wanted to, our human lives kind of like as a game. And part of the game is navigating your way through life as a spiritual being stuck in a human body with human consciousness, conscious mind, subconscious mind, ego, behaviors, things like that. That's part of the game. We don't have to chastise ourselves for not being as spiritual as somebody else that we know, or somebody else that we maybe watch on YouTube or, read stuff about or whatever. So let's see if there's anything else from Metatron that we should know about. I was not expecting this to come up, but I will say it anyways. It's one of these things that it's... Anyways, I'll just say it. The stuff that's happening in our world, like the pain and the really bad things that we're experiencing right now, because like, our world, we're going through, there's war, there's famine, there's a lot of sickness, there's like, all kinds of conflict. He's saying that it's not punishment for anything that we've done. Sometimes we get natural consequences for our actions. So, I mean, if you do something stupid, don't be surprised if you get hurt, like, or, you hurt someone. Don't be surprised if you go, well, in really severe cases, go to jail or pay a fine, or don't be surprised if you lose friends, if you hurt other people, right? He's saying some of that is natural consequences, but that's not the same as punishment. He's saying that's just kind of how it works in this. He says that we can consider it like now a game or simulation is another way you can come up with or think about this. He also wants us to know that a lot of stuff that's being like uncovered and talked about now, it has always been happening in some form throughout humanity, but it's being talked about, uncovered, because it's like us as a collective, like a spiritual collective, we need to become aware of things that are no longer serving us, behaviors that are no longer serving us. This stuff actually, it's like, I'm getting the word curriculum. It's part of the curriculum. There's a lot of tough homework in this whole life on earth thing. I know there's so many different ways you can think of life on earth. Like it's a game, it's a simulation, it's school. Anyways, he wants us to know that a lot of like the suffering that humans or that humanity is going through, it's not a punishment from God. It's not because somebody may or may not have eaten a fruit that they weren't supposed to back in, you know how that Bible story is, the whole Garden of Eden thing. No. That's not why we're dealing with pain and strife and stuff in our world. It's curriculum. This is to help us to grow as a spiritual collective. And sometimes you can't grow and learn from something that you have not experienced. Your soul wants to experience as many things as it can so that it can like have the knowledge and the wisdom that it craves and, can eventually, I guess, evolve and move up in vibration, move up in density or whatever, if you want to go that deep into it. So what else? Oh, so it's not the divine that's letting this stuff happen. I mean, it's observing all of this stuff as it's happening, but it's not like God sitting there with a checklist going, okay, we need to send famine over here, and we need to send war over here, and we need to let this kind of suffering happen over here. That's not necessarily how it's going. It's just like this stuff is happening. People do allow these things to continue when we don't necessarily need to. Metatron saying the solutions do exist, but it is going to take us a while to configure ourselves and work together in a way that will help us to at least solve some of our problems. A lot of people go, God, why are you letting this happen? This is awful. Like, what did we do to deserve this? And it's like, nothing. You didn't do anything to deserve this. This is just happening. Some of it is natural consequences of different actions. Some of it is stuff that we are allowing to continue, things that humans are just perpetuating. But we're not being divinely punished. And that's not why this stuff is happening and being uncovered. I'm hearing something about organized chaos. Like there's some way in which, now this sounds really weird because from a human perspective, there are some truly unbearable things happening. But I think from like a spiritual perspective, from like a higher perspective, there's something about it. It's weird saying that it's all perfect. Because I mean, it really doesn't seem that way, right? To us, it's not fair that some people starve, and it's not fair that people are being invaded and stuff like that. But from some kind of higher spiritual perspective, it does all work out for some kind of learning and growth, and that could be what makes it perfect. I'm not really sure. I don't know why he's using the word perfect. It's really strange. But we're going to go with it. We'll go with it. He's showing me some kind of like big machine with all of these different like gears and moving parts. And he's saying that these experiences and these kind of things that we go through in life, it's just like cogs in the machine. I want to know what the machine is. What that represents. He's saying experience. Okay, well, I suppose we come here to experience things, and we have to kind of have a balance of the good and the bad. There's something about it, though. There's organized chaos. It's all perfect. It's all meant for some kind of a higher purpose. Okay, that might be what the organized chaos is referring to. I need some water. And I'm going to check see if I missed any comments. Oh, Cheryl, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Little Sparrow, you put it really well. Seems like collective shadow work, having to see the ugly. I like that. And it's true. You can't fix something, or you can't accept something that you're not aware of. Sometimes we're just not aware of, why we're going through stuff, or not aware of the fact that it's natural consequences, or not aware of the fact that it's all for some kind of learning and experience. So I'm going to take a minute, have some more water, see if there are any other messages coming in. So Metatron wants us to find beauty in the chaos. Excuse me. That sounds really weird, but I think I get what he means. Sometimes, now our definition of beauty, that can, that changes from person to person. It varies from person to person, but there's something here about like finding, oh yeah, another part of the game. He's trying to explain this so it makes more sense to me, because I'm getting stuff coming in, but I don't really get it. He's explaining to me that part of the game is finding the love and the light that's hidden kind of throughout the chaos of our world and our experience. Part of the game is because, so we are spiritual beings. We are the essence of love and light. We come here where it's dense and it's uncomfortable, and we have physical body limitations. We have mental and emotional and cognitive limitations, all that. Part of the game is finding like the love and the beauty that exists in life among all of this heaviness. He's saying it's okay to approach life this way, to think of it as kind of a game, because it doesn't mean you take it any less seriously. In some ways that might be good, but it doesn't mean you take the whole thing any less seriously. I'm being shown, what is it called? I forget every time. Someone in the chat knows what this is. It's a Japanese tradition where they take like cracked or broken pottery and stuff, and they fill it in with liquid gold or whatever. They fill the cracks in with gold. What is that called? Shintsugi, something like that. Someone knows. Somebody in the chat can correct me. This is kind of supposed to be the end product of like this experience, this life on Earth thing. Because he's saying that is like a form of organized chaos. Like he's showing me that, again, I don't know what that word is. Somebody knows though. Where a bowl is cracked and they fill it in with the gold. Like after a while, after enough cracks and stuff, it looks kind of like a neat little mosaic or some kind of like really cool. There are so many different like cool designs and stuff that sort of come out, and it's not like they try to design it like that on purpose. You're just filling in the broken parts. Is it called filigree? Is that what it is? I don't know. Somebody in the chat said that. Someone knows what it is. So we can also think of life that way. Point is, we're always growing. It is perfect, but it's not necessarily perfect according to our human definition. Our human standard of perfection is quite a bit different than the higher spiritual perspective on what is considered perfect. the divine is saying, oh, this is just what we need. This is just what we need for our learning and growth. This is perfect. Wow. But to us on earth, it's like, this sucks. This is awful. We just got to remember that higher perspective. And I'm just going to take a minute. It's funny. I'll show you guys. I have this giant rose quartz. It is like as big as my head, just about. Or is it called kintsugi? Kintsugi. Somebody in the chat saying kintsugi. Kintsugi? Kintsugi? I don't know. But look it up. Look it up. It's really, really cool. It's a really neat concept. Yeah, I was showing you guys this giant rose quartz. A viewer gave this to me a long time ago as a thank you gift. I really appreciate it. I've been placing my hand on it while I do this kind of work, and it actually really, really, really helps me to be like a clearer channel. And I just love showing it off. Look how pretty it is. It's heavy though. Oh my God, it's heavy. So I'm gonna just set it down and leave it on the table. Hello to everybody who's just joined the chat. I feel like now, oh, okay, Steph has a really good, okay, so it's called Sintsugi, that filling in the cracks and the broken stuff with gold. And so her comment is saying, it means joining with gold. This centuries-old art is more than an aesthetic. For the Japanese, it's part of a broader philosophy of embracing the beauty of human flaws. Where, you know, the different parts of the bowl or whatever might be cracked and broken. But after a while, with, you know, all of the gaps filled in with the gold and stuff, like, it really does look beautiful. It's perfect in its own way. And so now I am going to shuffle these cards. I do think it is time for Raphael to come in and have a turn. That was kind of fun channeling Metatron without cards. It was a little bit, I'm going to be honest, it was a little bit intimidating. It shouldn't be, but it was just a little bit. So I'm feeling really good about that. Like, I really am glad for the opportunity to get that practice doing this without cards. But anyways. Now, Raphael. Also, thank you, Metatron, for your messages. If you have anything else you want to add, feel free to interject at some point if you really need to. So, Raphael, we're going to connect with you. Thank you for being here and for surrounding us and, you know, protecting us and helping us. Now, is there anything that you want to share? Oh my God. Are you guys all three going to do this to me? Raphael is telling me to only pull one card and to do the rest of the channeling without. They're all three going to do this to me, I bet you. All right, fine. We're going to pull one. And then I'm going to have to just trust again. Oh my God, Little Sparrow, you're right. They are challenging me today. On stream, of all things. That's okay. We get the authentic experience over here on Santa Rosa Metaphysical. You guys are learning along with me. Keep in mind, I'm just a learner too. Yes, Alex, they are being very playful. Okay, Raphael is showing me, now we got this 8 of Wands, and he's showing me rapid healing, actually. And this might go along a little bit with what Metatron was saying about like the chaos and finding the beauty and stuff within the chaos. Part of the beauty is healing. You can't heal now, and I'm kind of being reminded, you can't heal from something you're not aware of. But becoming aware of the, I don't want to use the word broken parts, but the painful parts of oneself sucks. It does. Because we all want to think, I got my shit together. And from a human point of view, I'm doing great. It's not always like that. We have a lot of healing to do. Part of the game, again, with this whole thing about life being like a game, another part of the game is having experiences, learning, or like teaching the human self how to heal, learning how to heal, getting the human self to like move forward, and getting the human self to learn what it can from its experiences. This is part of the game. We go over to the other side, and there will always be some kind of healing work that people do when they cross over, but for the most part, like, pain and suffering does not originate from the spirit realm. That's kind of this realm, Earth, or, you know, our physical realm. Rapid healing, a time of rapid healing on the planet. This does make a little bit of sense why it seems like things have been so intense lately. And when I say lately, I especially mean like the last 2-3 years. It goes back way more than that, but I've only become aware of it in the last 2 to 4 years, let's just say. A lot of darkness is being uncovered so that we can, you know, become aware of it, work on it, do what we can to make sure certain things don't take place anymore. There is a lot of needless suffering, but when we become aware of it, you know, we can actually move on and move forward. I think that comment in the chat about collective shadow work is so, so true. I'm also getting something about like really rapid growth and growing pains. And actually this analogy comes up quite a bit on my channel, and so I guess I'll use it again. When a child grows really fast, because we know they do, oh my God, they do. But when a child especially has like a really sudden growth spurt, they will often complain about having pain in their back or pain in their legs. When I was a kid, my legs used to ache a lot. I would lay in bed and my legs would just ache. And my parents would always notice, oh, wow, you've gotten a lot taller in the last few months. That was the growth spurt. That was the growing pain. So this is what we're going through now, except, you know, maybe instead of laying in bed with our legs aching, it's kind of like an emotional ache. Something I'm hearing from Raphael, he's actually borrowing this from a song that I know. And this is why he's showing it to me this way, is because it is true. He says, your heart is not broken, it's growing. I really like that. Oh, hello, Tony. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, your heart is not broken, it is growing. What song is that from? That's from a show. I know it's from a show. We're growing, we're healing. It's happening very fast. And Raphael is just validating our feelings of like, this is so intense, or like our feelings of, oh my God, make it stop, or our feelings of, this is so painful, it sucks. From a human perspective, oh, it totally does. Totally, totally, totally does. Alex is right, though, in the chat. She says, no pain, no gain. It's true. So let's see what else Raphael has got to say about this, like, rapid healing. Oh, so humanity, just as a collective, the reason why this rapid healing, because I was going to ask, like, why now? Why in the last few years and not like 50 years ago this take place? Because nowadays people are much more receptive to spiritual ideas. We're a lot less controlled, because he's showing me the image of we're like little toy robots or something, and somebody is like playing with a remote control controlling us. He's saying in decades past, the control felt much stronger, the influence, and this is like societal control and expectations and like institutions like religion, things like that, had a much stronger grip on people, he's saying, even 50 years ago, 60 years ago. But in kind of ever since then, that grip has been loosening. It's almost like there's another thing he's showing me is this giant hand with a tight fist, and we're all people are stuck inside the fist. And in the last few decades and years, we've been like wiggling out between the fingers and like slipping out here and there where we can. It's almost like humanity, we're just less, I think, less willing to be controlled and influenced to that extent. Now we're much more open spiritually, and he's saying that this opening will continue. We're much more open to spiritual guidance and influence nowadays. And this is why the healing has been coming in so much faster, because it's almost like all of the decades and the years that we could have been doing this collective healing, maybe we always have been, but just very slowly. It's almost like we're making up for, I'm not going to say lost time because it was not lost, but it's almost like we're, how do I explain that? Anyways, making up for our past slowness in this, if that makes sense. Our past reluctance as a collective. A lot of you guys in the chat have some really, really beautiful insights. One of you is saying, interesting how that the fist is trying to get a grip on people's societies right now, like a last grasp, but they won't win. And I really like that. There may always be some kind of grip, or, you know, there will always be some people that are 100% immersed in material society and stuff like that. But over time, it's going to be so few people as opposed to those who are more open spiritually. And Raphael wants us to know that being open spiritually does not mean that you're all like woo, weird hippie. It doesn't mean that you are like a Reiki teacher and you like decided to grow your hair out or grow your beard out or whatever. It doesn't mean that you've decided to go like full Jesus, walking around in the desert with a group of disciples. That's one way you could be spiritual. But he's saying just being open spiritually is just having the understanding that there is more to life than the material that surrounds us. That there is a lot more to life than the rules that we have put in place for ourselves. That there's just so much more to life than we think, and that it doesn't mean now being open. Now he's saying the word miracles, actually being open to things like miracles. We think of them as like big showy, crazy things. Like, well, I'm sure other religious texts probably have referenced different like cool stuff happening, but I was raised Christian, so my familiarity is kind of with the Bible. There's all kinds of stories about, you know, well, Jesus did this, he touched this person and that person was healed. Or like this lady was sick for 12 years, she touched the bottom of his outfit or the hem of his robe or whatever and she was healed. Like that's a great big thing. But Raphael is saying miracles are actually much more mundane. And they happen all the time. We just have to be open to it. Stuff working out when you thought it was not going to. Someone like coming in and helping you kind of at the last minute, or someone coming in and helping you when you were so overwhelmed with something and wondering how you were going to get through it alone. He's saying those are examples of miracles. These things happen all the time. We see them as much more mundane. But being spiritual is just like having that understanding that these things can happen and just keeping that open mind. He's telling us a lot of us we're like opening our chakras, I guess that would be the best way to put it. And on a collective scale, I laugh because the mental image he's giving me, it's so funny. It's like we're trying to get out of bed in the morning after being asleep for years. Or like a long hibernation, being dormant for just years and years and years. And we slowly get up, we stretch, everything cracks, all of our joints and our backs and our shoulders and our necks and all of that, crick, crack, crick, all the way up. And it's almost like we got to brush the cobwebs off and we got to like take a deep breath, and then you're sitting up, and then you actually have to swing your legs over the bed and get up and go about your day. He's saying that this is what it is feeling like for the collective as we open all of our chakras. He's saying that it's like it's been a long time since humanity, just in general, because there are many individual people who have their chakras opened and balanced and healthy and stuff like that. That's awesome. But there are many, many more people who don't. It's almost like they're still like asleep. But we're starting to collectively wake up. He's saying this is not always a comfortable process either, because part of balancing and healing the chakras, some of it is like remembering things that, one, some of us may not have ever been taught. Two, we may have completely forgotten. There are a lot of things that we remember when we're like over on the other side and everything. I don't want to say everything's easy, but everything is love and light and much easier than it is over here. And then we incarnate here and we forget. And Brenda makes a good point. There are some things that we are afraid to look at and afraid to consider. So, for example, Raphael is showing me anyways, the root chakra and how the collective, we're kind of opening and balancing that root chakra, but part of opening and balancing it is remembering that you are safe and that you are allowed to exist. You're allowed to be here and that you're here on purpose. For some people, that's a really weird thing to get their head around, because they're like, how am I allowed to be here? Like, I didn't, some people go like, I didn't choose this. I didn't ask to. And then some people with like feeling like they're safe, a lot of people do struggle with that feeling of safety and security. There are a lot of challenges to, opening up that root chakra. Or now he's showing me the sacral chakra, where one thing we can remember when we're trying to balance that chakra is that all of your feelings are valid and that they all serve a purpose. All of our emotions serve a purpose. Some people really struggle with this because maybe they were raised to keep all their stuff to themselves and bottle everything up. And some people find it really hard to accept that their feelings are valid and have a purpose when they try so hard to hide them and run away from them. He's showing me the heart chakra, because I guess we're gonna skip a few. He's showing me the heart chakra, remembering that you are loved and that you are love, if that makes sense. Like, you are the energy of love. That's what we are. at our very, very basic, you peel away every single layer of our existence, and what you find at the very core is the energy of love. But when our human experiences have been far from lovely, and when, sometimes in our human experience, we're treated very poorly by others, and in turn, some people treat themselves very poorly, it's really hard to open up that heart chakra and to accept other people's love and to accept self-love. So he's saying that we're all waking up. It's really hard. Just as a collective, we're waking up and it's really hard because it's like we've been asleep for ever, for years. But now it's like, now that we're waking up, he's going back to the example of getting out of bed very slowly. It's like that very slow wake up, like I was showing you guys, you stretch, everything in your body like cracks and pops and snaps and, but you get out of bed finally and then it's like, okay, let's go. Let's get dressed. Let's have a shower. Let's get dressed. Let's do this. Let's go on with the day. The rest of that will move a lot more quickly. Does that make sense to anybody? That's how it's being shown to me. That's how it's making sense to me. See if there's anything else from Archangel Raphael? Anyways, from Raphael before we move on to Sandalphon. Okay. Appreciate the parts of you that have been healed. Okay, and have that gratitude and keep that excitement and that relief. Some people are really excited, like, wow, this used to bother me a few years ago, and now I don't care at all. That's great. For some people, their healing is just a relief. It's like, oh, I can finally relax. He's saying, like, yeah, appreciate those parts, but also embrace the parts of you that are not yet healed. Embrace the parts of you that still hurt and that still need work. And he's saying especially the parts of us, like I guess this would go under shadow work, I suppose, but the parts of us that we want to keep hidden from others because we're afraid of what they're going to say or do, or the parts of us that we try to keep hidden from ourselves, the parts of us that we're especially ashamed of. He's saying, like, you got to embrace that because you can't just reject it. If you keep rejecting it and resisting it, it's not going to get better. And there actually is a saying about what you resist persists. So he wants us to remember that. Try not to resist the parts of yourself that still need healing, because if you do, you might just put off your own healing. You won't fully stop growing like Metatron was saying, but it might cause your progress to be a little bit more slow and uncomfortable than it needs to be. So he's saying, like, just in general, just try your best to be okay with it and accept that some things will change and accept that some things might be really hard to change if possible, like if you can change them at all. But just have that acceptance and try not to say, well, I'm not good enough yet, I'm not healed yet because I still have X, Y, and Z in my past, or I still have whatever within me that still hurts. He's saying just be okay with it. Our soul is still getting very valuable wisdom and experience from this. And I feel like that was Raphael's message. Thank you very, very much for coming in. I appreciate it. I always like hearing from Raphael. His energy is just very subtle. He's not flashy or like, boom, I'm here, look at me. Like, there's some spiritual beings that their energy is so strong that you just can't help but be like, oh dang, like, yeah, you're here. But Raphael is so subtle and so quiet and gentle that it's just like, oh, hey, welcome. Hi, nice to have you here. It's kind of like a friend, like maybe, I don't know why he's showing it to me this way. He wants us to think of him as like that friend that we have that no longer asks if they can come over, they just do, and you're totally fine with it because you're at the point where you no longer have to invite them over. It's like, come hang out, and like 5 minutes later they're at your door. Raphael's kind of like that, but he's like really quiet about it. So anyways, thank you very much, Raphael, for coming in. I appreciate that a lot. I am gonna shuffle, and we have Sandalphon coming in. I don't know if I've ever channeled him before. His energy is really new to me. He feels like, and maybe this is just how he's approaching me so that I'm comfortable, maybe. Oh, Brenda, no, we didn't miss Michael. Did I say Michael in the beginning of the stream? I meant Metatron. Today we're just doing Metatron, Raphael, and Sandalphon. So if I had said Michael earlier in the stream, that was my mistake. I will happily channel Archangel Michael at another time, though. That would be great. He was really nice, too. But Sandalphon's energy, he feels like a really kind old man. That's weird. But he kind of has like a grandpa type of energy. And maybe that's just so that I'm comfortable talking to him for the first time. But he's really kind. And very gentle. And he's very approachable. He says that any of us can ask him things whenever we want. And we can ask for him to come be with us. Now, I don't really know what he specializes in, but I am picking up something about oneness with nature. Okay, you know what? That actually makes sense. The kind of like peacefulness and sweetness I kind of get from his energy. It's like being in your favorite spot outside. Maybe you have like your garden or your backyard, or you have somewhere that you really like to go, and you just feel like you could stay there forever. You're like, oh, this is what heaven looks like. This is what heaven feels like. It's just calm and it's beautiful, and you feel like the breeze on your skin, and you hear the different like bugs chirping and whatever, and you're just like, wow, this is so perfect. This is just how everything is meant to be. That's what Sandalphon's energy feels like. Just being outside in peace in a very nice sunny spot. And another way you could think of his energy, he's saying we could also think of his energy as like a sunbeam. You know how like if you have cats, I'm sure you've almost tripped over them laying in a patch of sun on the floor, like right in front of the window. Sandalphon's energy is like that kind of warmth and comfort, and it just feels like that's safe. Joe in the chat says Sandalphon reminds them of a giant tree. I really like that. Just like stable and wise, has been here a long time, is not easily thrown around by the stuff that happens in our world and in our lives. He just is. There is something just so stable about him. I like it. So let's see what kind of message we have from Sandalphon. And I have a distinct feeling he's going to keep talking about nature. That's all I keep seeing now is like a forest. It almost looks like, which Disney movie? There's probably a bunch of them. I'm kind of thinking of Bambi, you know, in the beginning where they're showing the forest and the setting, and they have like all the different little creatures running around and being all cute and stuff like that. Or like also thinking of, there's also like Snow White, you know, where she's like in the forest singing and all the birds come around her and like all the little baby deers and stuff come and check her out. Like, I'm seeing that, except instead of a Disney princess, it's Sandalphon. Maybe Sandalphon is a Disney princess. So what is your message, Angel Sandalphon? And am I even saying your name correctly? I don't think he really cares in a good way, because they don't necessarily on the other side, they have names, but it's not like essential to identifying each other. Whereas on Earth, like I'm Sienna, you're, you know, Little Sparrow Tarot, or you're Tony, or you're Becky, or whoever is watching, right? And we need to use the names so that we know, you know, who I'm talking to, and I know who you're talking to. On the other side, it's not really like that. They have like energy signatures. That's what I'm hearing, energy signature, that they recognize each other from. Sandalphon is going more talking more about nature. There's something about finding finding the joy and the peace in our world, because we've been given a beautiful planet, well, for many reasons, but one of them is so that we can enjoy it. We can enjoy her presence. We can enjoy existing alongside her, because she is very much alive, just like you and I. You know, maybe she doesn't like walk and talk the way that we do. Maybe she doesn't go to the store for milk and cheese and stuff like we do. She's very much alive. And so what do we have with this? Finding the joy and the peace that comes from spending time with our planet. Catherine, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. There's something here about grounding. He wants us each to do this. And I mean, we could do this today. If I could, I would bring my camera outside with me and we would do, maybe in the future, we will do a stream like that where we just practice some grounding outside together. But that's something that he really wants us to think about for the next few days, next little while, is spending time out in nature and grounding, because that's going to help us to find some peace. It's going to help us to find some comfort. It's going to help us to find some joy. There's always going to be something beautiful. And he's showing me, even those who live in like more urban settings, he's showing me a sidewalk that has a dandelion. You know how there's like the cracks in the sidewalks, and sometimes you get little blades of grass that poke up through and different weeds. He's showing me a dandelion growing through a crack in the sidewalk. He's saying that is nature. He's saying that's nature. That's still beautiful. You can still find some peace in like observing something like this. There could be something more symbolic to go along with that whole like dandelion growing out of the crack in the sidewalk thing. There's something about like our world has been struggling, and you know, environmentally and in different parts of our planet, you know, stuff is being like deforested and ruined and stuff like that. But the energy of the planet is still very much loving. She doesn't harbor resentment or hate toward us for the human activities that have kind of been making things, well, you know, I don't really want to get into it because some of it becomes kind of political, and I don't really want to go into the whole like climate change and this and that, but we can't deny that there are human actions that are causing the planet to suffer. But Sandalphon is saying that she doesn't hold it against us, and she doesn't want to punish us or curse us. She just wants us to remember. It's like she wants us to remember how much she loves us, so that we might remember how much we love her. And we can find a lot of peace there. He's saying that in nature, there are fewer distractions. And I kind of get that. There are sometimes really quiet, nice places you can go. He's saying that without these distractions, it is a little bit easier to receive divine communication. But he wants us to know that even like people who live in cities where there's constantly noise and stuff, he's saying that's not like distractions like that are not the same as like, how do I explain this? He's showing me all these like mental images. Like, okay, when we're indoors, that's fine, but we don't always get that same connection to the sun. You might get the sunlight like from the window, but it's not the same as actually sitting outside and feeling that warmth on your skin and like getting that energy from the sun. Or like he's saying, this gets like, I don't know, to me it gets a little bit hippie, weird, but I kind of love it. We're inside, we don't really hear the breeze, and we don't hear what the breeze has to say to us. See, this is where it gets a little bit hippie and weird, but I kind of like it, right? Being out in nature, which is kind of, words are hard. For most of like human history, that was kind of our default setting. Was we spent a lot of our time outdoors. I'm sure we slept in shelters or caves or whatever, but we spent most of our time outdoors and in connection with the earth. And he just wants us to sort of go back to that. And he's saying it doesn't mean that you leave your apartment and you start a farm somewhere. Like, you could if you wanted, but he's saying like it's okay to just step outside and for at least a few minutes go back to that like primal state of being one with the planet, because you depended on her to survive. And she depends on you to take care of her. It's like we take care of each other. He wants us to, now it doesn't mean you have to go outside and sit lotus style like this and do your mantras over and over, Om Sat Chidananda or whatever. You can, but he wants us to just take a few minutes outside and just sit and enjoy the feeling of like the breeze, the sun. Enjoy, if it's kind of chilly, embrace that, enjoy it. You don't have to be out for very long. You can always go back in under your blankets, 5 minutes, 10 minutes later. But he wants us to remember where we came from, like where our human selves came from, and to get back in touch with that origin. Because this is going to help our spiritual growth as well. There's a lot of peace to be found out in nature. He says, be kind to all things, be kind to all that lives. And that's people, that's animals, that's bugs. Even, and I was just going to ask him, what about the invasive species, the things that carry disease or whatever. He's like, do what you have to do with them, but do it with the intent of love, not with the intent of destruction. Because I was going to ask him about things like mosquitoes, how they can carry disease, and in certain parts of the world it's a huge problem. He's saying do what you have to do to control that, or like to get that under control, but you do it with the intent of love. We're doing this not to destroy the mosquitoes, we're doing this to protect people. You see what I mean? The intent is to help others, not to just destroy something. But he says, just as like a general thing, have appreciation for all that lives. And he's saying for us to never lose like that wonder, that like we look at the sunset, and it's amazing how every single evening the sunset will look slightly different. It might be a lot of the same colors, but they're not always in the same order. And the clouds aren't always going to be in the same places. Sometimes the sky looks purple, sometimes it looks orange, sometimes it looks kind of pink. Like to always have that wonder and to every day be like, oh, I wonder what it's going to look like this time, and to just have that appreciation. I'm also just getting like, have this respect and appreciation for nature because it has that for us. Nature has allowed us to, as like organic beings, allowed us to adapt to our environments, has allowed us to evolve. Over time, like our bodies evolve, and how like the different hominids, they all look slightly different and stuff like that over the different periods of time. Nature has allowed us to adapt and evolve and to survive, and because it has this respect for us. And we need to just kind of show that same same respect, that same reverence. And I feel like that was a very beautiful message from the angel Sandalphon. Now, if I remember right, going through the chat, a little sparrow saying, I love how Sandalphon goes from he to she, how angels are both. And it's funny because like Sandalphon was also referring to our planet Earth as a she. However, it's kind of neat how over on the other side, those kind of beings don't have like I don't know. There is masculine and feminine energy over on the other side, but the angels themselves are not necessarily male or female. A lot of them are actually just neutral. It's really strange. To a human perspective, that's very strange, but to them, that's just natural. They're just energy. They're just beings. But they show up as male or female or whatever so that we can be comfortable. Yeah, they have the male and female energy, or the masculine, feminine energy, but not necessarily gender. And definitely they don't have a biological sex like people do. But they appear to us in the form that we will be most comfortable seeing. And I'm really thankful that Sandalphon showed up as like a friendly grandpa type, like nature grandpa or something, I don't know. Instead of like, oh gosh, some angels, as described in religious texts, there's like a wheel covered in eyes, or, you know, or like just wings covered in eyes. That would be a little bit terrifying. So I'm glad they came to me and like, to me, they showed up in, it looked like human forms, no faces, just light, but like human body silhouette with like, each of them had masculine energy this time, but I think it was just so that I would be comfortable channeling them. But they're fascinating. It's so fascinating how angels work and what they're like. And I'm very grateful. Now I do feel like I need to, we're going to look at an oracle card. This is the Crystal Angels deck. So I'm actually going to pull 3. So we're going to get one from Metatron, one from Raphael, and one from Sandalphon before we decide to close up the stream. So what's our message, our oracle message from Metatron? You guys probably saw one fly out already, and that is, I might not pronounce a lot of these crystals properly, but this is Moldavite. And it says, unconventionality. Your unique qualities are an important part of your life purpose. It's okay to feel and be different from others. I don't know if you can see the text. It's a little bit small, but a beautiful card. So that's an additional message from Metatron. He wants us to remember. That's why he chose this card to fly out. Your unique qualities are an important part of your life purpose. It's okay to feel and be different from others. That really goes along with his message of like, we don't have to compare our spiritual journey to anybody else's, because it takes all kinds of experiences for the divine to learn and grow. And we are the divine. So when I say the divine to learn and grow, I mean us too as a collective. We're going to get a message from Raphael. He's telling me to pull one out of the middle because he's not going to make any fly out. Oh, I like this one. Okay, citrine. And it says, unnecessary worries. Release the burden of worries by giving them to God for healing and solutions. I love that. Another one about healing. Raphael is like all about that healing. He's kind of like an expert in that area, I think. We have lots of, well, a lot of the worries we have, we may not think that they're unnecessary, but maybe from like a higher perspective or from a spiritual perspective, some of them are. They might be relevant to life on Earth and the rules of the simulation, but it's not something that's going to affect our soul growth forever. So like, for example, you know, you got to like pay bills and have a place to live and stuff, but it's not going to affect your soul growth or your next lifetime, you know, if you live in an apartment as opposed to a house that you own. Like that, those kind of details like don't really matter. or like the kind of vehicle that you drive, or the way that your body looks. It actually, it kind of, to us, it really matters. It's kind of like something we fixate on, but from a spiritual perspective, that's a very unnecessary thing to worry about, and it's okay for us to try and release it. That might help us to heal. And then our last one, any message here from Sandalphon. He wants me to pull the card off of the back, so we're just going to do this one. Dolomite. Dolomite, it says, stay strong in your faith. A positive outcome is dependent on you keeping a positive mindset. And I like that one. It's a little bit different than the message that he was just giving us about having appreciation for nature because nature appreciates us, having respect for us because we, respecting it because it respects us. Brenda, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I see that you have to get going. We're at the end of the stream anyways. You're not going to miss out anything important after this. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Now you guys are wondering what cards those were. I'll show you once again. It is the Crystal Angels Oracle cards. They are from Doreen Virtue. I know some people have kind of like mixed opinions on her because of her transition from spirituality back to religion. However, she did do these cards, I think, before that transition. And honestly, it's not necessarily about which person made the deck. It's about the information that has been channeled into the deck. That's what's important. The artwork is by Marius Michael George. I got these cards. I'm sure you can find them online. I'm sure you can get them on Amazon or probably from Hay House. That's the publisher. I bought these in a metaphysical shop in my town. We used to have a metaphysical shop for a long time. But yeah, that's what these oracle cards are, and they're really, really nice. I like them. The art is just gorgeous. And you learn a lot about these different types of crystals and what they might be helpful with too. Okay. So that's been our stream, channeling Metatron, Raphael, and Sandalphon. Thank you to all three of them for coming in. I really appreciate it. Of course, they already know this, but I'll just let them know anyway that they're welcome to come back at any time. And I would love to talk to them again in the future. Little Sparrow, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm really glad that you were here today. I kind of missed you on some of my other streams. I know you guys are like, well, you're like, Sandy, you see so many like names and stuff fly past in the chat, but I recognize a lot of them, and I do notice it when someone hasn't been around in a while. So thanks to everybody. Thank you to everybody for being here and being so supportive and awesome like you always are. You're probably already liked and subscribed, or you're probably already subscribed. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. And there's the notifications bell. Some people have not been getting notified when I come up with something new, like upload something new or go live. So make sure you actually hit that, the bell icon, and then you will get notified when I do new stuff on my channel. And then that way you don't miss anything and you can join in on all the fun. And with that, thank you so much for watching. We're gonna have a great weekend as a collective. We're gonna just have a great time. Bye, everybody.